First contact and fatal mistake. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the Earth defense vessel Sentinel, her eyes fixed on the stars beyond the reinforced view screen. 20 years of patrolling the outer reaches of humanity's territory had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every nerve in her body screamed that something was wrong. Captain, long-range sensors have detected multiple unknown vessels entering the system, reported Lieutenant Marcus Chen, his fingers dancing across the tactical console. Their configuration doesn't match any known species in our database. Elena straightened her uniform and nodded. Time to intercept? At their current velocity, approximately 6 hours until they reach Mars orbit. Alert Earth Defense Command. I want all available ships on standby. Elena walked to the command chair and activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands to battle stations, this is not a drill. The Sentinel hummed with activity as crew members rushed to their positions. Elena had served with most of them for years, transforming the ship into one of the most efficient and decorated vessels in Earth's still young interstellar fleet. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel only 40 years ago, and in that time, they had encountered 7 alien civilizations. Most of these encounters had been peaceful, if sometimes tense. But Elena knew better than to assume peaceful intentions. The unknown vessels are altering course, Marcus reported. They're heading directly for us. Open a channel on all frequencies, Elena ordered, and prepare the warning protocol. Communications Officer Zara Okafor nodded, her dark fingers working swiftly. Channel open, Captain. Elena stood tall, her voice clear and commanding. Attention unknown vessels. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Vessel Sentinel. You have entered human-controlled space. We welcome peaceful contact, but must insist that you identify yourselves and state your intentions. The main view screen flickered, revealing a being unlike any Elena had seen before. Its skin was a deep purple with iridescent scales that caught the light. 6 yellow eyes arranged in a circular pattern dominated what appeared to be its face, and a complex breathing apparatus surrounded what might have been a mouth. Human vessel, the alien spoke, its voice translated through the ship's advanced systems. I am Supreme Commander Vrock of the Krillari Dominion. Your species interests us. Your territory interests us more. Elena maintained her composure despite the implicit threat. Commander Vrock, we are open to diplomatic discussions, but I must inform you that humanity values its independence and sovereignty above all else. Vrock made a sound that might have been laughter. Sovereignty? Your species has barely left its birth system. The Krillari have dominated 3 galactic sectors for millennia. You will submit or you will perish. Before you make decisions you might regret, Elena replied evenly. I am authorized to share information about our species that visitors should consider. She nodded to Zara, who transmitted the warning protocol, a comprehensive package humanity had developed after their first few interstellar contacts. It contained a detailed history of human warfare, showing how humans had fought each other for thousands of years, developing increasingly sophisticated tactics and technologies. It demonstrated humanity's incredible adaptability, resourcefulness under pressure, and their absolute refusal to surrender even against overwhelming odds. Most importantly, it showed what happened to those who threatened human existence. They were met with a unified, relentless response that did not cease until the threat was eliminated. The transmission took only moments to complete. Vrock's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. Impressive propaganda, the alien commander said dismissively. But we have conquered species that made similar claims. Your historical conflicts are primitive compared to our military traditions. Elena's expression hardened. This wasn't propaganda, Commander, it was a warning. We acknowledge your warning, Vrock responded, and dismiss it. Prepare your leaders to discuss terms of surrender. To demonstrate our resolve. The transmission cut. Abruptly, almost immediately, alarms blared throughout the Sentinel. Captain, Marcus shouted, they're firing on Ares Station. Elena rushed to the tactical display. Ares Station, humanity's largest off-Earth research facility, orbited Mars with a population of over 2,000 civilians, scientists, engineers, and their families. Get me a visual. The view screen shifted to show one of the Krillari vessels positioning itself near Mars. A beam of intense energy lanced out from the alien ship, striking Ares Station. The research facility's shields flared briefly before collapsing. A second beam cut through the main habitat ring. They've breached the environmental systems, reported Science Officer Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, his voice tight with barely controlled fury. Oxygen is venting, temperature dropping rapidly. Any response from the station? Elena demanded. Zara shook her head, tears in her eyes. Nothing, Captain. All channels are silent. For a moment, the bridge of the Sentinel was completely still. 2,000 lives extinguished in seconds as a demonstration. Record this, Elena said quietly. Her crew knew that tone, the deadly calm before the storm. Visual confirmation of unprovoked attack on civilian research station by Krillari forces. Zero provocation, zero warning. She turned to her first officer, Commander Jackson Reed. Send everything we have to Earth Defense Command. All sensor readings, our first contact exchange, and visual confirmation of the attack. Yes, Captain, Jackson replied, his face grim. The view screen flickered again as Vrock re-established communication. Now that you understand our resolve, we expect... Elena cut the transmission with a sharp gesture. They've made their choice. Now they'll face the consequences. Within minutes, a response came from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Helena Wong's face appeared on the view screen, her expression as hard as tempered steel. Captain Reyes, we've received your report. The Security Council has convened an emergency session and reached a unanimous decision. As of this moment, Earth is at war with the Krillari Dominion. You are authorized to engage under Protocol Omega. Elena nodded, understanding the gravity of those orders. Protocol Omega was the most aggressive military directive in Earth's arsenal. No prisoners, no mercy, no surrender. Acknowledged, Admiral. We will not fail. The entire fleet is mobilizing, Admiral Wong continued. But the Sentinel is our closest vessel to the Krillari position. You must buy us time and gather intelligence on their capabilities. We'll do more than that, Elena promised. We'll show them exactly what they've awakened. After the transmission ended, Elena addressed her bridge crew. The Krillari think they understand warfare. They don't. They expect us to either surrender or mount a conventional defense. A cold smile touched her lips. We're going to do neither. She turned to her tactical officer. Marcus, what do we know about their ships? Based on our scans, they have advanced energy weapons and shields. Their propulsion technology appears to be at least a generation beyond ours, but, he added, their sensor grid has gaps. They seem to rely heavily on energy detection rather than gravitational distortion or visual confirmation. Dr. Nakamura, options? The science officer had already been working on his console. Their shield harmonics operate on a predictable modulation. With some adjustments to our own systems, we might be able to bypass them. Additionally, their communication system uses quantum entanglement, but we've detected regular updates to their encryption keys. Elena nodded thoughtfully. Zara, can you intercept those encryption updates? Given enough time, yes. Their security is sophisticated but follows recognizable patterns. And their tactical approach, Jackson? The first officer studied the movement of the Krillari ships. They're spreading out, Captain, classic occupation formation. They expect us to either retreat or make a suicidal frontal assault. Perfect. Elena's eyes gleamed with deadly determination. Then they won't be looking for a single ship to slip through their lines. She brought up the tactical display of the solar system. Here's the plan. We're going to go dark, minimal power, passive sensors only. We'll use Mars's shadow to mask our approach, then slingshot around Phobos to gain velocity without using our engines. Her finger traced a path through the Krillari formation. We'll pass right through their perimeter here, where their sensors are weakest. Once inside their formation, we gather intelligence on their fleet composition, command structure, and any weaknesses we can exploit. And if we're detected? Jackson asked. Elena's smile was predatory. Then we show them why humans have survived thousands of years of trying to kill each other. Prepare the ship. We move in 30 minutes. As her crew rushed to implement her Orders, Elena returned to the observation window, gazing at the distant stars. The Krillari had made a fatal mistake. They had judged humanity by their technology, by their brief time as a spacefaring species. They had failed to understand what the warning protocol had tried to tell them. Humans were not just another species to be conquered. They were survivors, adaptable and relentless. And now, they had been given the one thing that made them most dangerous, a reason to fight. Within the hour, the Sentinel powered down to minimal life support. Its running lights went dark, its engines silent. Like a predator stalking through tall grass, it began its approach toward the unsuspecting Krillari. Fleet, the hunt had begun. The hunters become the hunted Supreme Commander. Vrock stood aboard the Krillari flagship, the Eternal Dominance, watching with satisfaction as his fleet established control points throughout the human solar system. The demonstration at the Mars facility had gone perfectly. Surely now these primitive humans would understand their inevitable fate and surrender. Supreme Commander, his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krex, approached with a bow. Our forces have established bases on the planetoid they call Luna and several strategic asteroids. The humans appear to be falling back to defend their homeworld. As expected, Vrock said dismissively. Our intelligence indicated they would be disorganized and emotional after our demonstration. Prepare to move our command ship into position for the final ultimatum. Yes, Supreme Commander. Though, Krex hesitated. We've lost contact with our forward observation post near the Red Planet. Vrock's 6 eyes narrowed. Technical malfunction? Possibly. We've dispatched a scout vessel to investigate. Keep me informed, Vrock said, returning his attention to the tactical display. One minor communication glitch was hardly worth his concern. 12 hours later, Vrock was no longer dismissive. The scout vessel had never reported back. 2 additional outposts had gone silent. Most disturbing of all, the Krillari cruiser Unyielding Might had abruptly ceased all communication while investigating one of the silent outposts. This is unacceptable, Vrock raged at his command staff. How can 4 of our positions go dark without any distress signals, any signs of battle? Where is the human fleet? Our sensors show their main fleet still gathered around their homeworld, Krex reported nervously. Though we have detected unusual energy fluctuations near several of our positions shortly before losing contact. Show me, Vrock demanded. Tamo. Tactical display zoomed in on the area where the Unyielding Might was last seen. Sensor logs showed a brief, almost imperceptible energy spike, followed by what might have been weapons fire, and then nothing. Enhance the sensor readings from this time frame, Vrock ordered. The analysis revealed something unexpected. The Unyielding Might's shields had been active, but they had failed in a peculiar pattern, as if they had been precisely targeted at specific harmonic frequencies. Impossible, Vrock muttered. Their technology isn't advanced enough for such precision. Another alarm sounded. Supreme Commander, we've lost contact with the supply convoy from the outer system. Vrock slammed his appendage against the console. Find them. I want every ship on high alert. Deploy sensor drones throughout the system. But the sensor drones discovered nothing. It was as if the missing Krillari ships and outposts had simply vanished. 2 days passed with mounting losses. Small Krillari vessels disappeared without a trace. Communication relays failed. Supply lines were disrupted. The Krillari began to realize they were not facing a conventional defense. They were being hunted. Meanwhile, aboard the Sentinel, Captain Elena Reyes reviewed the data from their latest strike. That's 4 supply ships and 3 outposts neutralized, she reported to her crew. Dr. Nakamura's shield frequency disruptors are working perfectly. The Sentinel had transformed from a patrol vessel into the most effective predator in the solar system. Using the intelligence they'd gathered by slipping through the Krillari lines, they had developed targeted countermeasures against the aliens' supposedly superior technology. We've also fully decoded their command protocols, Zara added proudly. We can intercept and understand all their communications now. Elena nodded in satisfaction. And the rest of the fleet? Admiral Wong reports that 5 more ships have adopted our tactics, Jackson said. They're operating in different sectors using the same hit-and-run approach. The Krillari are spreading themselves thin, trying to protect their positions. Excellent. And our special project? Marcus grinned. Ready for deployment, Captain. The modified drones have been programmed with the Krillari recognition codes we captured. They'll register as friendly on their sensors until it's too late. Earth's strategy had become clear. They would not engage the Krillari in direct combat where the aliens' superior firepower could dominate. Instead, they would bleed them slowly, strike from shadows, and disappear before the Krillari could respond. 3. Humans had centuries of experience with asymmetric warfare, guerrilla tactics, and psychological operations. Now they were applying those lessons to space combat with devastating effectiveness. Aboard the Eternal Dominance, Supreme Commander Vrock faced a crisis he had never imagined possible. A quarter of his fleet was missing or destroyed. Supply lines were in shambles. His remaining ships were constantly on edge, sometimes firing at sensor ghosts or false alarms. We must regroup, Vrock finally admitted. Order all remaining ships to fall back to these coordinates. We'll form a defensive perimeter around the command ship. Supreme Commander, Craig said hesitantly, perhaps we should consider diplomatic options. Vrock's breathing apparatus hissed with anger. The Krillari Dominion does not negotiate from weakness. We will crush these humans once our forces are consolidated. But consolidation proved more difficult than expected. As the scattered Krillari ships attempted to regroup, they became even more vulnerable. The humans seemed to anticipate their movements, striking at ships that strayed too far from others, always avoiding direct confrontation with stronger formations. The time half of the remaining fleet had gathered around the Eternal Dominance. Vrock had lost another 5 vessels. They're learning our patterns, Krex observed, his voice heavy with concern. Adapting to our tactics faster than any species we've encountered. Then we'll change our approach, Vrock decided. Prepare our largest remaining strike force. We'll target their homeworld directly. They may be willing to sacrifice outposts, but they'll have to defend their cradle world. It was exactly what Elena Reyes had been waiting for. They're taking the bait, she told Admiral Wong during their secure communication. The Krillari are consolidating their forces for a direct assault on Earth. Excellent work, Captain, the Admiral replied. The trap is ready. The fleet is in position, cloaked as you suggested. Once the Krillari commit to their attack run, they'll be caught between our forces, Elena nodded. And the Sentinel? You've earned the kill shot, Captain. Your ship will lead the strike team against their command vessel. The plan was set. As the Krillari battle group moved toward Earth, they focused all their sensors forward, expecting resistance from the planet's clearly visible defense fleet. They didn't detect the Sentinel and 3 other ships approaching from behind using the stealth techniques that had proven so effective. When the Krillari fleet was fully committed to their attack vector, Admiral Wong sprung the trap. Ships that had appeared to be civilian vessels suddenly powered up weapon systems. Defensive platforms that had seemed dormant came alive, and from hiding places throughout the inner system, the rest of Earth's fleet appeared, having used the tactics developed by the Sentinel. The Krillari found themselves surrounded, caught in a carefully orchestrated crossfire. But Elena wasn't interested in the main battle. Her target was the Eternal Dominance. Deploy the modified drones, she ordered. A dozen small, unassuming devices launched from the Sentinel. To Krillari sensors, they appeared as their own reconnaissance, drones returning from patrol. They passed easily through the command ship's security perimeter, attaching themselves to the hull. Drones in position, Marcus reported. Ready on your command. Elena opened a channel to the 3 ships accompanying them. Strike team, execute attack pattern Sierra. Target their propulsion and weapon systems. The 4 human vessels accelerated, suddenly dropping their stealth measures and unleashing precisely calibrated weapons fire. The drones attached to the Eternal Dominance activated simultaneously, emitting frequencies that disrupted the flagship's shields exactly where the humans needed to strike. Aboard the Krillari command ship, chaos erupted. We're under attack, Krex shouted. Shields failing in multiple sectors. How did they get so close? Vrock stared in disbelief at the tactical display. The humans had not only anticipated their attack on Earth, but had somehow managed to slip a strike force behind their lines, again. "Return fire," he ordered, but it was too late. The human vessels moved with uncanny coordination, staying in. The Krillari weapons blind spots striking with surgical precision. "Propulsion is offline," an officer reported frantically. "Weapons at 30% capacity." The bridge rocked as another hit landed. "Communication systems compromised," Krex added. "We're being isolated from the fleet." On the main view screen, they watched in horror as their battle group, caught between multiple human forces, began to disintegrate. "This is impossible," Vrock whispered. "They're primitives. They should have surrendered." The view screen flickered, and Captain Elena Reyes's face appeared. "Supreme Commander Vrock," she said, her voice level but filled with cold determination. "Your fleet is destroyed or scattered. Your command ship is disabled. You have one opportunity to surrender." Vrock's breathing apparatus wheezed as he struggled to comprehend this reversal. "How? How did you do this?" "We tried to warn you," Elena replied simply. "Humans don't fight like other species. We adapt, we learn, and we never ever forget those we've lost." Vrock's 6 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed his options. "If we surrender, what terms do you offer?" "The same mercy you showed Ari's station," Elena said, her voice hardening. "You have 5 minutes to evacuate any civilians from your vessel. Then we will destroy it with all military personnel aboard." "You can't do this," Vrock protested. "There are conventions, rules of warfare. You established the rules when you destroyed our research station without warning," Elena cut him off. "5 minutes, Commander. The countdown has begun." True to her word, Elena allowed escape pods, carrying non-military Krillari, to launch before the Sentinel and its companion ships opened fire on the crippled command vessel. The eternal dominance, pride of the Krillari fleet, broke apart under the sustained assault. In the following days, the remaining Krillari vessels were given a simple choice: immediate retreat from the solar system or complete destruction. Those that hesitated found themselves hunted down with the same ruthless efficiency that had shattered their invasion force. 1 month after the Krillari's initial attack, not a single enemy ship remained in human space. The survivors limped home to the Dominion, carrying with them the record of their defeat and a message from humanity. "We warned you. Remember this lesson, and spread the word to others who might think us easy prey. Humanity will not be conquered. Humanity will not be subjugated. And those who try will face the full measure of our resolve." Years later, when other alien civilizations encountered humanity's expanding presence among the stars, they came with caution and respect. The story of the Krillari invasion had spread throughout nearby sectors. How a supposedly primitive species had turned the hunters into the hunted, systematically dismantling a technologically superior force through adaptability, ingenuity, and implacable determination. The warning protocol was updated to include a detailed account of the Krillari War, and never again did an alien power dismiss humanity's simple message: "We come in peace, but we are prepared for war. Choose wisely."